and you want as Mike 1. Oh, you're already in there. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Just check. I mean, you're gonna hit. Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah. Wouldn't make it down here.
All right, curling fans. This is Robert Young from the Plainfield Curling Club. Welcome to the 1 o'clock stream of our Bonsqueal finals on Sunday at 1 o'clock. As you can hear in the background, we got the bagpiper going. And the procession of our B event and D event finalists. Welcome to the 2022 Bonsqueal here at the Plainfield Curling Club. Themed this year, Valhogga, a Viking-themed Bonsqueal. I will be doing my best to offer any level of commentary through the event finals. For the event finals, hopefully you can see either stream. We've got a B event final stream separate where we'll have Barry Klein from Plainfield Curling Club going against Patty Coburn of the Plainfield Curling Club as well. On one stream, on the other stream, D event finalists, we have Team Zakin out of the Nutmeg Curling Club against Team Nickel, which I believe the last name is incorrectly spelled on our score. So there we go. All right. We are very excited to have this 2022 iteration coming to a close. It has been an absolutely fantastic party. First and foremost, I would like to thank our amazing coordinator, Bev Wiederman, for doing a brilliant job, as always. This has been a Bonsqueal 3 years in the making. As intended to be our 2020 Bonsqueal, we did not have a chance to do that for some strange reason. I can't really explain why, but we're having it now. And looking at this mix of characters that are on the ice right now, this is about to be a very interesting Bonsqueal ending. So I'm really excited for some great curling. It is a six-end event, so it's a little bit quicker. And I believe this is the first time we're also dealing with freshly pebbled ice, which is great. We're just having a really fun way to end our season. This is our last event of our 2021-22 season, in which we throw rocks. Next weekend, we'll have our official ending, in which we'll throw kegs down the ice. So as we end the season, it's beautiful outside, so of course we all chose to stay inside because this is the kind of people that we are. Looking at the cast of characters, we've got a really great assortment out there. Team Barry Klein. We've got a great mix of 5 and under players with Barry Klein as Skip. And looking at Team Coborn, a very powerful front end and a great, our common commentator, Mr. John Gephardt's on the ice. So you're going to have to deal with me for the next 2 hours before he'll join us for the A event and C event finals later in the afternoon. Team Nickel, powerhouse group. We got the Nickel couple, and we got Malarowski and Alina. I can never remember her last name. Sorry, Alina. And Team Zakin, powerhouse group from Nutmeg. They came in and had a great Bonsqueal. And we were just hoping to have some fun. Again, I'm just going to try and do my best to have some level of commentary. We got 1 person watching and 4 people watching the D event. So hello, everyone watching. But we're going to go ahead and get started momentarily. Everyone's starting to warm up, throwing their practice slides, and we will figure out hammer and colors, and we'll get you ready to go for an eventful 6 end final. All right, we've got everything underway right now. We've got yellow on both sheets are running our hammers. I will be doing my best to ensure that we have equal coverage and commentary on both sheets 1 and sheet 2. I do not remember what streaming website I'm on for YouTube in terms of if I'm on streaming for B event or D event, but I'm going to assume you're listening or watching one, if not both. We've got Team Klein on sheet 1 with Red Rocks throwing hopefully some guards here, and we've got Team Zakin from Nutmeg on sheet 2, also with Red Rocks. Yellow Rocks are going to be hammer on both. I am enjoying the fact that we've got YouTube going for sheets D and B, and also there's a Facebook Live going for our Nutmeggers. A friend of ours are live streaming. Is it the Elizabeth Tully on Facebook, not the Nutmeg on Facebook?
Sorry, you're right. It is on the Nutmeg page.
All right. So if you are members of the Nutmeg Curling Club, first off, hello. I haven't seen you all in such a long time, and I hope you all are having a great time in Connecticut. We've got a live stream going on the Nutmeg channel on sheet 2 exclusively. So follow them if you'd like to, or stay here on the YouTube channel. I can pretend I know what I'm talking about for curling.
And your name is?
My name is Robert Young. And I will be pretending to know what's going on for the next hour and a half. For everybody watching, please feel free to interact and ask questions on the chat room. We got the chat room going on both streams. If you have any questions or comments for the Bonsqueal, let's just double check if everything's updated for hammer. All right. So on sheet 2, we've got Mike Malarowski, the second for Team Nickel. We've got a pretty open house right now. Looks like it's going to be a draw behind a guard. Guard situation looks really good for yellow right now. Got a corner guard for red, though, so opportunities here for a good offensive end, which we should have. It's a 6-end game, so we want to have high offense. We don't really want to shoot for any blanks. Blanks are by accident at this event. We got Chris Springer in the house for Team Klein on sheet 1. Again, attacking. It almost seems like we have similar games going on, which is great. Just 2 guards, other color on both sides. For those of you who are new to the Bonsqueal, this is our end-of-season event. 6 ends of curling on end-of-season ice. It is just meant to be a lot of fun, shenanigans on the ice as best as possible. And if you notice any Viking iconography, it was a Viking-themed Bonsqueal this year. So. Prior to the start of our event, we had the C event, Rat Race semifinals going down, where Team Grek from the Potomac Curling Club will be advancing on to the C event finals today at 3 o'clock. And I will find out who they'll be playing later in the afternoon. It's been really nice to have teams from other clubs come down for the event. We had some teams come down for the PCC Stone, our men's Bonsqueal that we have in March, as well as the Jersey Curls that we have in March. So being able to open the door for more clubs to come in and compete has been wonderful, and hopefully it'll keep the momentum going for next season when we open up the doors in October. We are now in Vice's Rocks here on sheet 2 for Team Zakin, going for a nice, easy hit off the counter, the top of the 4-foot yellow. Just gets a nice pick out, leaves the house empty on sheet 2. Sheet 1, we got a nice little promote going on. We still got 2 yellow counters on sheet 1, but it opens up. Doesn't really open up much. We have some availability on the intern side. The outturn side just looks a little congested. On sheet 2 right now, Alina Pazdruska, I'm going to butcher that, I apologize. The Vice for Team Nickel. Piling them back in there, make sure to at least force Zakin into another hit. This year's winners will be getting pig-themed trophies, as one always does during the Bonsqueal this year. Since we're doing a Viking-themed display, we've got Thor and Loki trophies, as well as Viking pigs for the other events, and of course our amazing trophy, a giant pig sitting on top of a keg. It's a wonderful thing, y'all. If you've never been to a Bonsqueal, I highly suggest you do so. It is a lot of fun. Team Zakin going for another hit again. Looking really good. So going to stick around. Nice nose hit, sitting 1. Hoping for a little bit of a flop. But we'll be trading some hits here on sheet 2. Sheet 1 looks like we're doing a tap game. The Vice for Klein looks actually going to be a slash hit to move the top yellow shooter, top yellow counter. Sorry. I am chock full of caffeine and not enough water, so I'm probably going to be talking a mile a minute, and for that I apologize. Good hit from Alina. Didn't manage to get the flop. A little too floppy. Doesn't look like it's going to be counting as a biter. Zakin's taking a look at it. We had a draw from Gephardt on sheet 1. John Gephardt, our amazing commentator of the past over the past season, did a brilliant job taking care of a lot of our audio work. in our computer system. So thanks, Educ and John. Nice little drawdown here on sheet 1. Crashed on some guards on sheet 1, but right now, Patty Coburn sitting 1, highly buried. Barry's got an open path on the out turn side for a draw, just trying to start piling in some red. While on sheet 2, wide open house. We're on Skip's Rocks right now. Goal is to try to get buried as best as you can, get your deuce. Both sheets going at the same time. You gotta love it. Perfect, like synchronized curling. Who doesn't love that on a 2-sheet club? Got some sweeping activity going on sheet 2. Looks a little tight to that guard, but it looks real nice. Good curl on that. Get some feet on, get some breaks on that. Sitting back 8. Good draw. Gives Bill an opportunity to come right down to and freeze to it. John Gephardt going after a heavy draw, it looks like, trying to pick out that red that's sitting shot. Looks like it's a good board weight, board control weight takeout. On sheet 1, sheet 2, we got Bill Nickel. Little bit of a wobble, but nothing Bill can't handle. Good draw weight there. Sweeper's not on it yet. Looks close. Sheet 1 did not get the hit that I was hoping for. So red now trying to figure out how do we protect the 1-shooter. Bill Nickel gets a beautiful draw. Looks like it's going to be biting top 4. Nice biter behind coverage. Setting up for their deuce nicely. So Zakin's got a question to figure out. Do we freeze down to it? Is enough space to pick it out? Try to out count on sheet 2. Zakin for the draw attempt. Looks like it's going to be a good freeze. Got sweepers on activity gear going on. Looking real nice. We get a little bit of some separation to it. And it looks like red is about half buried behind the high guard. So the question is, do we do the draw or do we do the nice hit for your deuce here on sheet 2? It's a lot of lines, so it looks like it's going to be a draw. Draw for your deuce. And on sheet 1, we got Patty Coburn with hammer, his first of 2. And question now for Patty is going to be, how do we get after that shot rock? To respond to a text message I randomly got, yes, I am announcing Kate Trella. Hello, Kate Trella. Please be nice to me while I pretend to know what I'm doing. Bill Nickel, sheet 2 hammer, going for his draw for his deuce. Patty Coburn, his skips first on sheet 1. Sweepers heavy on both sheets right now. Needs to get some extra. It looking good. Just keep the sweepers going on sheet 2 for that draw. Get that draw. And it comes about a full rock short. So Bill gets his 1 on sheet 2. And we're going to head on to the sheet on end number 2 in our DFN final. Sheet 1. Sheet 1, Patty drew to full 4-foot, but leaves it about 3/4 exposed. The question now for Barry is, does Barry Klein's last without hammer? Looks like the line's there for either a draw, to right there to freeze into the pocket to make the pop out a little bit more difficult, or if you're a little heavy, you have a chance to push back the yellow and sit your 2 and really force Patty into a shot for multiple if you want. Sheet 2, Sheila Nickel going for your draw. Looks a little heavy. Looks like it might be full 12. Biting 12. Just biting 12 on sheet 2. All right, Barry puts a guard up, really makes it difficult for Patty to get a multiple here, or even get this 1. The question is going to be: do we just follow the same path, or do we play the raise game on the opposite side? Try to get your points. If there's one thing that I'm enjoying about this year's Bonsqueal has been the ambiance, the music in the background, in which there is a Celtic music channel that's doing pop covers. Case in point, I've never thought I'd ever hear Shakira's Hips Don't Lie through Celtic music. But you know what? Today is a day of learning and experiencing new things, and apparently Shakira with lutes and whatnot in the background is actually an experience I didn't think I needed, and I really do enjoy. All right, we got a stagger guard situation on sheet 2 at the start of the second, and on sheet 1, looks like we're going for some promotes for Patty's hammer shot on sheet 1. Sheet 1, got sweepers scrubbing hard. Try to get that promote on the yellow. You got contact on the yellow, but is it the right contact? You got the run back. Oh! Real nice attempt. Just needed about 5 more feet of weight there. But Patty only gives up the 1. So sheet 1, score. Barry Klein takes the steal of 1. Sheet 2, Malorowski's first. Right top 12, right in line with the shot with the first shooter. So now we got Zakin opting to take out anything on that center line. Playing double duty announcing on both sheets, not knowing which sheet can listen to me is great. If there's one sheet more than the other, let me know in the chat room what you want me to talk about. I actually have a request from my text messages to do non-game specific commentary. So I could do music commentary. Or I could talk about my job. One of the two. Let's do neither and just focus on the curling. All right, we're going to focus in on sheet 2 right now. This is getting the second rocks here. Trading hits right now. Zakin had a good hit. Unfortunately, it stuck around, trying to get a flop behind those guards. So now Malorowski is going to be doing the same nice little hit and stick right on the center line. We'll be focusing on sheet 2 right now, while sheet 1 starts building their house for their second end. Nice hit, good roll in. They're wanting to stick around to the center line, but right now we got 2 counters in yellow. Splitting the house. The question now for Zakin is going to be which direction we want to go after. Do we want to go after the hit? Draw behind any of the coverage. So it looks like Zakin is queuing up for a hit on the intern side, getting rid of those 2 covers over there. Good hit on sheet 2. Sticking around, got a counter now. So the question for Bill is going to be, do we go ahead and draw behind those guards? Do we get rid of that red counter? Calling for the hit on the red, flop behind the guards. This sheet on this particular side has always been interesting in my experience through the last half of the season. Hits down this line have a tendency to hold a little bit longer than you would expect, and then if there's a draw, the draw path tends to hook a lot. So it's a late curl. You got Malorowski trying to swoop for some curl. Got a good nose hit. Sticks around, doesn't count. So we got 2 yellow guards and 1 yellow counter. And on sheet 1, some great sweeping from Coburn's front end. Getting a high guard on their counter. We're now in Vice's rocks for, I believe we're in Vice's rocks for Team Zakin right now. Ryan Hurd, I believe. Huh? Heidi? Heidi. Yep, Heidi, Hardy, Heidi?
Like Heidi.
Heidi. Oh, that's an I there. So sorry for the confusion, everybody. I apparently cannot read really tight script on our placards. And apparently Elizabeth Tully is making comments about me on the live stream. Oh, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, Sean's gonna make this lead. And second is Paul Doubles. He's done.
Okay. I'm getting some updates on the roster for Team Zakin, for who I will probably forget, and will lean on our Nutmeg friends to remind me. This is turning out to be some really interesting first ends. I really like to see clean houses, going for the hits, not trying to overcomplicate things. Really good, really interesting strategy calls early, which I like. I like aggression on the ice to get started as you're getting a feel for what this ice feels like, especially now that we're pebbled. So it's a new experience for a lot of curlers, because this weekend hasn't been a lot of pebbled. It's just been a fun end-of-season event, not a lot of pebbling, and that's completely fine. Oh, bad flash on sheet 2. Right through the goalposts on sheet 2. So now Bill Nichols got an opportunity to put some pressure on the second end. 2 counters, 2 guards. Seems to be a biter is the call, protecting the shot rock. On sheet 1, trading hits, got a wide open, one really high guard. And it looks like Bill Grzyzbowski queuing up for a guard. The only An interesting stat that I heard about recently was for a Vikings-themed Bonsqueal, Bill Grozbowski, only one to wear a Vikings uniform, really paying homage to Minnesota, land of curling. However, as a Carolina Panthers fan, I really don't care about the Vikings jersey. It's just a nice little fun fact for everybody. And we got a hog rock on sheet 1. And on sheet 2, here we go with the draw. Remember, the goal for Bill is let's get a nice biter in this. We got sweepers on and off. Yes. Just getting reminded of the delay. There is a delay going on. My apologies, I just need to do a tech conversation, sorry. John Gephardt throwing his, I believe his second for club 1 on sheet 1. Going for the hit. Shooting for the flop, little thin on the hit. You got your contact, but now we got Klein sitting 1 and calling for the draw behind the high guard. On sheet 2, Zakin is first, going for the draw behind coverage. Yellow has a pretty interesting wall up at the front, and it looks like Mark came up just a little light on the draw. I'm being polite. I was told by an actual nutmegger that I should have said it was a lot light, but I was just trying to be polite and courteous. Oh, what's really funny is I think people can hear you on here, on both. All right, Barry Klein trying to drag it in. Got some great sweepers on Team Klein. Buddy of mine, Chris Springer. I play with him on the Cool Duck. Springer is awesome. He's a great lead to have, great front ender to have on you. And you got Matt Gallo, who is basically just like will pick up any sub spot as physically possible this past season. Great to see the level of dedication from our newer players. We got a promote call for Bill Nickel. Great line call. It's going to just cross the nose enough. The weight was there for a nice promote, but it does leave the rock about a quarter exposed. But Bill Nickel sitting 3. Hammer shot coming in for Zakin. The question, is it enough to get the hit and stick for the 1? Or would a heavy draw work? So this is the question on this ice, with this line anyway, is when's the curl's going to happen here. Sheet 1, just the 1 lone yellow counter on sheet 1. And Barry seems to be calling. I want to say it's a hit coming off the center, so it's going to be it'll probably curl a little bit more, but hoping for a thick hit and roll behind the shooter. Or, sorry, hit and roll behind the guard. And here we go, hammer shot on sheet 2 from Mark Zakin. I've been told to let you all know Matt Gallo, 2022 Plainfield Boat Race Champion. Matt Gallo. On sheet 1. All right, sweepers furious on Mark's draw, making sure to pass that guard. Line's looking good. Just right past that guard, and does it have enough juice to push it? It does. Great. great draw attempt for Zakin to get his 1. So at the end of 2, the D event final, all knotted up at 1. While Celtic Eye of the Tiger is in the background. I'm really loving the covers. These covers are great. Let me know in the chat room if there's an interesting Celtic cover that you heard over the weekend that you really need to comment on, and maybe I need to download it to a Celtic-inspired playlist on Spotify. Sheet 1, Paddy Coburn doing his wonderful jog down the ice. Getting ready to throw his first one. There's enough of a stagger guard on sheet 1 that if Paddy throws this just right, he'll be able to sit 1, buried behind both guards, and make Barry's last a little bit more complicated to keep a crooked number up for Paddy. So while we're setting up our sheet 2 house at the start of end number 3, we'll take a look at the final few rocks on sheet 1. John Gephardt in his signature vice squat. The Grzybowski sweepers on it all the way. Looks a little out there, doesn't want to curl enough, it just needs to come over to get a counter. There's the brakes on the draw, just get it to count. And it's just a couple inches short. So Barry going after the hit and flop over, try to put enough counters, get his skips deuce right now. Barry Klein in the house, in the hack for sheet 1. About to throw his last without hammer. Looks like good normal hit weight. Sweeper staying close for line just to be on the safe side. There's the on-off call on the sweep. We've got the contact, and it just sticks. It does stick around. It's close enough to maybe be considered a biter for the biter bar. Sheila Nickel on sheet 2 getting a nice hit. And flop behind the guard. Oh, overswept by Malorowski. I won't let him forget that. But looking from the hack angle, it looks like only a sliver of yellow is showing, so that's a real good flop behind that guard. So the question by Paddy is, can we get our deuce here? It looks like it's either a draw attempt or maybe, if it hangs out enough here, a split for 2. So the nice thing about the split with this angle is that he doesn't need to push it enough. He just needs about 2 inches. So he can just get a tiny piece and flop over and get both. So it could be a very delicate draw for a split deuce here. Looks a little warm from my angle here. You got your promote for your 1. Paddy's got his 1 in there. So repeat on sheet 1 where we're knotted up at 1 apiece, making for a great pair of event finals. All right, looking at sheet 2 right now, we're in the We're about halfway through end number 3. We've got the second seconds. I love saying second seconds rocks. If I have any opportunity to say so, I will. I just want to confuse people. There's an attempt to pop out that yellow. That's sitting 1 right now. Looking really close. Good line on it, but it looks like it just loses some steam and it just taps up the yellow even further behind. However, from this angle from the warm room, it looks like about yellow is about only half buried. So the question now for Bill is, do we guard? Do we split the house? And it looks like the split call, as long as it's in line with the shooter, is the call here. So Malorowski, his second rock. Sheet 1, Team Klein looks like they're going to be going for aggression early by drawing behind the yellow corner guard. All right, so heavier than wanted on the draw on sheet 2 from Malorowski. Starting with our Vice's rocks, it looks like it's going to go after that. Going after the yellow with that line, looks like about maybe board weight. Hitting come over. Hitting stick would be great behind that guard. On sheet 1, a take-out attempt on the shooter in the back from Grzybowski. Sweepers are on it on sheet 2 to pass that guard. It's close, but just eclipse that guard. However, it does open up the red. It does open up the red shooter. So the question now for Bill is, do we protect the shooter or do we go after that split again? Funny sitting here talking to our friend Mark Mooney, who's taking credit for a lot of the success of the players out there on the ice. Oh, I'm sorry. He said he's coached and played with a lot of people on the ice, but he's just taking credit for their successes, even though he's currently in the warm room. Glowing with pride, also red and embarrassed because I'm talking about him straight to his face. There's at least 19.
At least 19, wow.
I'm estimating one has 9, one has 10, but there could be split views, so you never really know. If you're listening to the chat, please make sure to say hello to Mark Mooney. If you're in the chat room, try to embarrass him a little bit more if possible. I want to see how red he can get. All right. Oh, hello, tiny puppy. We have a tiny puppy here in the warm room. I am now officially distracted. Enjoy curling while I pet the dog. Hello, puppy. Nutmeg wants to get on this as well. So if you want to see the dog and the commentator, hello. So Zakin's Vice, his last Vice rock, real nice draw weight, just pushed the yellow enough and leaves his red, looks edge on edge, looks wide open. The question now, hit and roll, hit and stick. Looks like good control weight's being called by Mill. Ideally just off nose would be great. Hit and flop over a little bit. Don't need to kill it. Just make sure you get good contact first and then get a little bit of a roll. Alina. Sweepers on it, holding that line. They held it nicely. Looking good. Get the light little roll. Great roll. So we got sitting 2 for Team Nickel, right in line on the 8-foot. Nicely split. And speaking of splits, we got Bill Grozbowski, the hit and flop over to outcount the red, and it looks like that yellow, you can't see on the screen the yellow, but that yellow, you see you see all the yellow. However, it is locked onto the red counter behind it. So that red that was back there, back 12, looks pretty much neutralized in the back. And now Chris Springer from Barry Klein, his second. Looks like it's a hit attempt to try to unlock the 2 in the back. Mark Zakin throwing his first. Looks like it's going to be a hit attempt to flop over. You can get that second, that open exposed red. Sorry, the open exposed yellow. If you hit it just right, you'll be able to flop right behind the yellow with some guard cover here. You got the contact, but it just basically puts the red back where they were just the first shot. It was a great attempt by Mark. And Bill Nickel looks like he's going to be throwing the same call, but the line is a little bit wider, so it looks like it might be a little bit down. Again, my favorite phrase: you don't need to kill it. Just make sure you get good contact on it. John Gephardt on sheet 2 throws a beautiful draw to the top 4. Looks to be almost fully buried, if not maybe a quarter exposed off the center line guard. So it looks to be that on sheet 1, Team Coburn is sitting 2, and Barry is now figuring out how best to pop the guard in front. The nose hit would be great. The nose hit would probably remove the shooter and get rid of both yellows, but the problem would be you're leaving the a red guard. So Bill Nickel throws his first. Great hit, but flopped in the opposite direction. So right now we've got 1-2 yellow, but it's queued up. There could be a double there, but I think that if Mark makes a hit at it, you're going to keep their top red. So the question is, do you go after the double with enough heat and hope that both will go, or do you just try to go ahead and outdraw, get behind the stagger guard, and just limit Nickel and force him into a tough draw? And I think right now the conversation in the house looks to be that it's going to be the draw. I like the draw here. You know, I don't really like the idea of going for the possible deuce if you know that the first one is a high probability that top yellow is going to stick around. So going for the draw. Sweepers are already queued up, ready to go. Fist bumps ready from the front end on Mark's front end. So I would like to also point out, Nutmeg Curling Club, that jacket y'all have looks real nice. Whoever I'm noticing the trend with the club jackets of the past few years. Nutmeg has a really great club jacket. Whoever designed that one, nice work on there. We're actually having some conversations with some members for a Plainfield club jacket. So if you got any suggestions for the club jacket, just put it in the chat room. Let us know. Zakin with his draw attempt. Line looks good. Weight looks maybe a little warm, but I think the sweepers are a much better judge than I am because they are both heavy on the sweep. And on sheet 1, we got the hit attempt on the guard. Barry's Vice gets the hit and flop, opens it up. Patty Coburn is still sitting 3, but no longer behind coverage, so the guard is going to be the call. Mark, on sheet 2, Mark Zakin had the draw weight, maybe a little bit heavy, and it just clipped the pair in the front. So now Bill is going for the nose hit for 3. All right, sheet 2, getting queued up for a hit for a bundle here. All right. Already calling for a sweep, forcing the curl from Sheila. There it is. Not from this angle, you got your nose hit. And we've got our first multiple for on sheet 2 for the D event final. Team Nickel getting their triple. So after 3, midway point on the D event final, Team Nickel up 4-1, with Team Zakin from Nutmeg having hammer in 4. Perfect timing for us because on sheet 1, we've just started our skips rocks on our B event final. Patty Colborn sitting 3 right now. Shooting for a guard weight, but it looks a little warm. You could actually probably get a full 12 out of this. But it's going to leave the top 2 rocks wide open. That's just a little... The guard weight was there, but it just moved over, so it leaves the top 2... The 2 shooters... Sorry. The 2 counters exposed for a hit. Really should work on not being as caffeinated before doing any type of pretend commentary. We're starting to get a few more people coming in the warm room. Our D and our B events are our first of the pairs of our event finals. At 3 o'clock, we'll have our, we'll have our first event and our second event finals. Nope, our first event and our third event finals are our A and C event finals. Barry Klein in the hack, getting ready to throw his first of 2. Barry Klein looks to be control weight.
Sorry about that, everybody.
Sorry about that. All right. Line looks real good. You got contact on the second rock. Leaves the flop over enough. That looks like a measure for what is considered second rock. The question, and John Gephardt's taking a look right now. It does affect what Patty throws. And it looks like Patty's going to apply pressure, try to draw one in. Or the guard. I'm not really sure. I see the line. It could be a draw or it could be a guard for the line, one of the 2. And if I was a better lip reader, I would know what Patty's throwing. All right, so on sheet 2, our B event final, Patty Colborn is set to throw his last. From the warm room perspective, it does look like it's a guard weight, and the Grzybowski couple up the front sweeping on and off. Looks like it's draw weight now. Sorry, it looks like it's guard weight now, just crossing over the hog. It's not going to be in the view of the webcam from one angle, but if you can see the long view, it is a centerline guard. And now Barry is queuing up for the draw. So good guard from Patty. The question now becomes, Barry can draw for the 1, or because it is a high enough guard, Barry can throw just heavy draw, maybe hack weight. You hit nose to push it back enough, it might count 2. And looking at the line setting up in the house, it does look like it's going to be board weight. Board weight, hit your nose, possibly get your 2 with the measure. While we are settling in, I hope you all are having a great day. Please make sure that if you are Plainfield members or any member at all, make sure you thank Bev Wiederman, who did a brilliant job as coordinator, as usual. There's already discussions on what next year's Bonsqueal is going to be. I've heard the rumors. It seems like it's going to be a very fun event, just like this one. However, unfortunately for the Wiedermans, they only have 1 year to prepare for the Bonsqueal and not 3. Here we go with Barry Klein, sheet 1. Here's Skips Rocks on sheet 1. Barry's Skips Rocks looks a little wide. It's coming down a bit. And it just clips the yellow. So it's a steal of 1, maybe 2. The question is going to be the measure. But a steal by Coburn. And both vices are doing the measure dance. Looks like a hoedown, but really it's just 2 vices moving in nice unison. And it is a call for the measure. So while we have a measure on sheet 1, let's take a look at the action on sheet 2. And no guards in play on sheet 2 with Team Zakin sitting shot. There's an attempt on the vices second. So we're definitely barreling through on sheet 2. And the draw attempt just goes through the house. So Alina Pazdurska, I'm trying my best with that last name, I apologize. Called for the hit and flop over. Sweeper's on it for the line. Looks like the line's there for the hit. The question is going to be whether or not it's going to stay around or not. You got the contact. And loses the shooter, so no guards in play. Nickel just sitting the 1. We've got the results on the measure for sheet 1. It was a steal of 2 by Team Coburn. So on sheet 1, score is now 3-1, with Barry Klein taking the hammer into 4. I'm apparently stepping over my words because I have a heckler in my text messages here who is making fun of the things that I say. So if you're the person sending me text messages, thank you. All right, we have a clean house now on sheet 2. We got 1 more Vices Rock to go for Bill Nickel. The questions are now going to be, who wants the blank? Do we want the skips deuce? What's the setup? And because we had a measure on sheet 1 will be expecting to end probably half of an end later than expected because the measure does allow for the official timeout. Oh, and now I'm being told by text message that the person who's heckling me in the chat in my text chain is now says they love me. I beg to differ. Anyway, back to the action. Alina with her last for nickel. Right on the center line, biter. Nice biter on the 12-foot. The question for Zakin is going to be, do you do the split? Do you draw behind it? Just to get rid of it completely? Down 3, that's the question. You're already halfway through the game as well, so looks like they're lining up for the draw behind the top 12. That weight looks really good on the draw attempt from Mark's Vice, Ryan. But it's coming down a lot. It's losing a lot of steam towards the end. That might actually be, it's just going to end up being a corner guard. So now we're in Skipstrock's territory. We got a corner guard and we got a yellow biter. So it looks like it's going to be a nose tap, keep a centerline guard, and just pop that yellow top 4. Good attempt on the. It'll be a good attempt on the nose promote. Matt Gallo throwing, I believe, his last lead rock on sheet 1 for Klein. Got some guards going on, and it looks like Matt. 2 corner guards are up for red for Team Klein, and Team Cobra's got a center line guard, a 2 center line guard. So it's looking good. We might have a heavy draw game going on sheet 1 for the 4th end. Bill Nickel on sheet 2 with the D event final. Line looks good. Draw weight looks a little hot. Looks like it may be a heavy draw. Needs to curl. The curl is there. The question is going to be, is it going to be, it's digging now. It's not going to get the promote, but nice draw weight nonetheless. Back 4 weight. From this angle, it's about 3/4 open. So nice draw weight from Bill. I might have been wrong if it was a call for the promote or if it was the draw either way. So I'm all right. How are you? All right, Chris Springer, the 2nd for Klein. Throwing his first, and we got Mark Zakin in the hack on sheet 2. The Bill Nichols' first draw left the button wide open, so you draw down right to the nose to it. It'd be a good setup for a skips deuce for Zakin. So bit on the wide side. But we do know on this sheet with this handle, it does tend to come over a lot. There's the curl. And once it curls on this sheet, it's going to curl a lot, but it's looking to drag the weight. So let's get those sweepers going. It's looking real good. Just short. Now sitting 2nd shot, just off of the 4-foot. Sheet 1, Bill Grabowski. Beautiful draw behind that center line guard. And you got Team Coburn sitting 2 now. Looks like they're all stacked right on that center line, which is real good position for Patty to be in right now. Go for that steal again. Looks like Barry's faced with that same question he had from the last end. When to pop the center line guard. How to pop the center line guard. What are some good misses for them? So going after that center line guard. Bill Nickel on sheet 2. In the hack, ready for his 2nd. Looks like the line is set up for a hit on the red. You hit it just right. Hitting it nose or just coming across the nose. City will sit 3 nicely. Looks a little tight on the line, but sweepers sweep. Sheila's sweeping that, hold that line. It's curling a lot now. Oh, it's on that yellow. It is on the front yellow. Can it move enough to maybe salvage? Well, the nice thing about that, it curled enough. It didn't come in contact with that back yellow. But the back yellow now is about half exposed off the center line. So there's a couple options here for Mark to get his deuce. Just curled a little bit more than expected off of Bill's second. So the hammer shot, Mark's got an opportunity to get his crooked number. John Gephardt on sheet 1. Coburn's Vice, throwing the first Vice rocks. Comes in contact. Oh, just misses that center line guard, which is great, but it's heavy, so it just might pile into the back of the house. So Team Coburn sitting 2 back house behind the center line guard. Barry Klein calling for the draw. Anything to take advantage of the backing. We've got Mark Zakin here. Sheet 2 throwing his hammerstone. The line looks tight where you can go a little heavy and just make contact with that back yellow. Sweepers are on it, making sure that they got enough steam. We'll need a move. There's that motion. Just make sure you pass that yellow. Passes that yellow nicely. Good contact. Gets your deuce. Nicely done from the Zakin rig to get your deuce in 4. Great sweep from the front end. Zakin's in a good spot right now. They're trailing 4-3 after 4. Bill's got the Team Nichols got the hammer in 5. It's going to be a fun game. The last 2 ends of our D event final here. While on sheet 1, Coburn's Vice throwing his second, trying to clear that guard. It's off the guard, which is nice. But can it outcount? And it will outcount the last throw, the Barry Klein's counter in the back. So looking at the setup, having to get a better look here at the guard situation. So that draw from Gephardt looks fully buried off the center line guard, but good board weight might be able to pass by that center line guard and clip out the yellow. I mean, if it moves enough, you might be able to nose hit the yellow and get to sit 2. And that's the question right now Barry's facing, is how do we want to go after that shooter? I got confirmation that it is like right buried. Clipping the guard won't be a bad result because it'll give you exposure for the second shot, and it's Vice's second shot anyway, second throw anyway. So you got a lot of opportunity to get after that yellow as well. So Klein's Vice throws his second. Looks like it's a control weight. Looks real warm. Passes by that guard. Gets contact, just a little contact on the yellow, but it does push it off so that yellow is no longer sitting shot rock. Everything in the house on sheet 1 is back T. So whoever can get buried, exposed behind, get buried behind those guards will take control of this house. So there's a lot in the back of the house, but nothing in the top team. Sheet 2 setting up nicely. We've got Sheila Nickel throwing her lead's second rock. Bill Nichols already sitting 1. And it looks to be a center line guard. So sitting 1 guarded for Team Nickel. And Patty Coburn on sheet 1 throwing his first of 2. Coburn is without hammer in the 4th end on sheet 1. Sweepers are not on it until the very end, just past the hog line. Sweepers are on it. Heavy draw, but you could push that red enough. So it pushes the red. It's far enough where Barry can push it and sit 2, but Barry is going for the draw now. So goal is going to be the top 4 for Barry Klein's first of 2. And on sheet 2, nice draw to sit in the top 4. But it leaves the second rock exposed. Bill calling for the hit and flop over for Mike Malarowski. Mike gets his hit, not the flop, but it's enough. And it looks like Mark is queuing up for the double if the double's there. So going for the double early now. He's got a lefty on here, which is really good on this angle, in my opinion. But I don't really know much, so there's that. Barry's first did get 4-foot, was shooting for the top 4, ended up being back 4, so Patty's got an opportunity just to draw right on top of it and just leave Barry with a pin draw. Alright, sweepers are not touching Patty's last. Looks it's come in a little bit, it's looking a little slow. There's Bill Grzybowski. Question's going to be, where's it going to end up? Looks real good. Looks real good. There it is. Side of the pit, side of the button. The warm room is pleased, and they are a fickle bunch. So if the warm room is happy, it's done something good. Here's the problem. Looking at the angle here, you just if Barry Klein crosses the nose with some heat, he can sit 2. He might be able to sit 3 just from this angle. But it looks like it's just going to be a draw attempt. He can be a little warm on the draw attempt, but as long as he crosses the nose, he crosses the nose and pushes the yellow back, he's going to get his 1. And I think the 1 is the objective here. Great takeout from Nutmeg on sheet 2. But we still have 2 counters for nickel. The shot rock is about half buried. So Bill calling for the 3 guard just off center line. Barry Klein, hammer rock on sheet 1. Sweepers are on off. Sweepers are on now. It's dying a bit because he needs some sweepers help, but it looks like it might be clipping that guard. So Barry Klein clips the guard. Patty Coburn, the cat burglar, steals again, taking 1 in the 4. So Team Coburn up 4-1 in the B event final on sheet 1. Barry Klein's got hammer again in 5, last 2 ends to go on sheet 1. On sheet 2, we got a hogged guard attempt. Something that Mark Jakin would really like to take advantage of. He's looking at this double here. He hits it thin enough. There's the double there. The question is going to be, how does he want to come at it? So, normal weight. The double's here. It's going to be an in-turn double. Any contact is good contact right now. Ryan in the hack right now. And away we go on sheet 2. Looks good, a good hit weight, but it looks a little wider than the line call. It's going to hit nose. Nope, off of nose, but it's going to stick around. There it is, right on nose. I was wrong the second time. So, Bill's faced with a question. Go for the hit, go for the guard again. The guard seems to be where he wants to be at, because at least the guard that he called for the last time would protect another attack at that yellow shooter. And it will kind of force Zakin to play some sort of angle slash on the red that's sitting in the second shot. So, Alina, with her second. Being corrected in the worm room, then being uncorrected in the worm room. So it's a little warm. Takes the hit and flops. So maybe I was wrong on the call? Could be. That ended up being back of the house. Back of house weight, so. Great to see the 15 people watching the D event final and 9 people watching the B event. So hello everybody out there watching the end of season Bonsqueal here at the Plainfield Curling Club. This is our last event where we throw rocks for the season. Our last event will be next weekend, where we throw empty kegs down the ice as we get ready to start melding our ice for the end of the season. So pretty excited for the keg curling experience next weekend. Mark Zakin throwing his first of 2. Looks like it's an attempt at the slash double. It's got some legs that needs to move a little bit. Sweeper trying to sweep some curl. Gets contact on the second. Gets rid of the second shooter, but just moves the yellow rock fully buried behind the staggered corner guards on the out-turn side. And it looks like Bill Nickel is queuing up for a hit and flop over on the red third shot. The idea here being just get a good contact on this, flop over just enough off the red, off the contact, just to flop over to the center line guard. And right beside me, the amazing Bev Wiederman, who did a brilliant job yet again at the Bonsqueal. And I've turned, her face is now red. Apparently whenever I mention anyone on the live stream, they get really embarrassed, which basically incentivizes me to continue doing this. I did mention earlier, Bev, that next season might be a little bit more difficult for you, because rather than 3 years to prepare your Bonsqueal experience, you only got 1. So on behalf of everybody, you did a brilliant job with this season. Congratulations on a successful event. Highlight this season, for me anyway, I didn't partake in it because I'm boring, but the ice cream trucks was a great touch this year. I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. Also, the spouse carry event was great. Do we have a winner for the spouse carrying event? Mike and Alina, of course, the Tough Mudder couple. Yep. ends up taking the spouse carrying event. Yes, everybody listening, we did have a spouse carrying event with hay barrels, obstacles, and a teeter-totter, as well as winning the costume contest. When they're committed to a bit, they go for it. So Mike and Alina, Nice work. And now they're aiming for a pig. They really want to go for fully decorated couple of the Bonsqueal. So if there ever was a Mr. and Mrs. event, there we go. Bill Grzybowski in the hack for Coburn. And we got Mark Zakin about ready to throw his last in the fifth end. Looks like the line is going to be a draw path. If he can throw this perfect and just touch the button buried behind that red, and it'll make it difficult for Bill to get a multiple here. So Zakin with his last. The rock is away. Sweepers have not touched it yet. There's the sweeper activity now. Sweepers are going for it. Looks a little bit wider. Needs to curl. Really wide. It might be touching the yellow. It's... Nope. It didn't risk promoting the yellow to be a second shooter. But now Bill's got a shot for two. The question is going to be, do we want the draw for two, or do we want to hit the second rock and the red in the back to get your deuce? So there's an opportunity here for Team Nickel to get their deuce in 5. Chris Springer, Barry Klein's second, throwing his second rock on sheet 1. I feel like I'm getting judged by people in the warm room right now. Well, I'm getting heckled by not only people on my cell phone throwing me text messages. I'm also getting heckled by members of Team Potomac, as I would expect from Potomac, because that's just how they travel. They go, they compete, they heckle. It's just what they do, and it's completely fine. We've learned to accept this from our friends out of Potomac. All right, Bill Nickel with this hammer shot in 5. I'm being told that I'm not being heckled yet. Yet is the operative word here. All right, sweepers are on it for Bills, and it looks like it's curling a lot. So the question would be, can they salvage enough? They can get some action on the stagger. And not enough action on the stagger to get their 2. So they got their 1. And Nickel's got a lead going in up 2, going into the final end. 3-5. Team Zakin out of Nutmeg with the hammer advantage in the last rock of the last end of the DFM final. For those of you who are curious about how the entire Bonsqueal experience went down, from the bracket to the teams, please feel free to visit our website at www.njcurling.org. Top navigation bar, you can go to events, and you can find the Bonsqueal on there. And our Bonsqueal had a live draw. It is it's a shareable Google document. You can go in and take a look at all the events, and you can take a look at the paths that all of our event finalists have taken to get to this point here. Not only our D event and our B event, but also our C event finalists and our A event finalists. The A event finalists, Team Veltri versus Team Baird. Powerhouses who do a great job getting to the event finals for the Bonsqueal every season. So we're really excited about the A event slugfest that we're going to have. I still need to find out who the second team is on C event final. And getting confirmation, the C event finalists will be Team Sullivan out of Plainfield versus Team Greek. Team Greek out of Potomac. Team Greek. Team Greek out of Potomac. Yes. No, Greg, and he's coming after me now. Okay, the hockey player is now trying to attack me right now. Oh, and I just got attacked by Potomac. This is great. Good job. Riding kitties. Everybody. People from Potomac are great people. I love going down there and playing. Looking forward to seeing our friends in Potomac very soon. So on sheet 1, we're finishing up Vice's rocks in the 5th end. We've got 2 counters from Barry Klein. Their shot rock is not fully buried behind that center line guard. It's pretty looks like edge on edge. And the question now for Team Klein, the center line guard would be nice, but the pressure to put something in the house would be even better. So shot looks like going to be draw top 8. Draw top 8 behind that center line guard. If it's a guard, that's okay, but let's get some pressure in the house. And vice away. All right. Team Klein's got some great, nice line, just a little heavy. Ends up being just back button. Sitting 3. It's a great result. But Patty Coburn, his first, has a nice little hit there, hit and stick. You throw this nice enough with enough finesse, you might be able to cross the nose enough and sit 1 right behind that center line guard. Patty Coburn jogging to the hack, as he often does. And while we get Team Coburn ready to throw first skips rocks, we'll take a look here on sheet 2. Mike Malarowski throwing, I believe, his second rock for Team Nickel. Looks to be trying to draw behind that guard. Weight's looking really good. The question is going to be, do we get enough past that guard? It's past the guard. Oh, it just rubs right at the end. But Team Nickel's got 2 yellow counters in the house. And they're up 2 without hammer, so Patty Coburn. Miss on the hit. So Barry's sitting 3. Question now is going to be pressure shot. Do the same thing you just try to do, that top 8 draw that they tried to do earlier. Going through, I mean, you can go a little deep, and sit button as long as you're locked on, but top 8 would be better here. So I think Barry just talking over, making sure they know all the outs that they have available to them. They are down 4, 1, and 5. So the better the crooked number, the better they will go into the last end of their event final. Nice thing for Team Klein, they got 2. This is Barry's first. The line looks like it's a good draw line here. Talking it over with the sweepers. Looks a little light from the warm room. Sweepers are on it now. Gallo and Springer. 1-2 combination for Klein. Making sure the weight looks a lot better now. But it's coming down a lot. Then get it to count. It'd be great. They're dragging it top 8, top 12, I'm sorry, through the 8. They are now sitting half in the top 8. So they're sitting 4 right now. And now Patty's left with a question for his last. Does he go after the hit and try to minimize the damage, or does he go after the draw on the opposite side? And while they're figuring that out, Alina, the vice on Nickel, throwing her first. Gets the hit off of Zakin's second shot. So Nutmeg sitting 1 with hammer. Calling for the promote, which is a great call here. You get your promote. You're sitting 2. And even like options for the split too. But priority is going to be get some good draw weight, make some contact with that red, keep both your reds in. And also make sure, do not leave anything available for a double. These are 6 end games. Actually, that's a great question if I should get confirmation. Hey, everybody, I've been lying to you this entire time. It's an 8-end final. I've been lying this entire time. Ladies and gentlemen, your commentator's been corrected. You get 2 more ends of curling. Huzzah! This is even after I got complimented as a good job on the commentating, being wrong. Thank you, everybody. I stand corrected a lot. The chat room no longer likes me. This is great. Well, this explains why there's not a lot of people in the warm room so late in the end, late in the games. So, I need to make some changes here. And now the scoreboards are updated for 8-end games. I'm not wrong, I'm just correct in the wrong order. Well, now that we have some bonus curling, well, from my perspective, it's always been 8 ends. This changes a few things. It's not the fact that I was wrong on the live stream, it's the fact that I'm going to be wrong for as long as YouTube stays in existence. So Patty Coburn in the hack, getting ready to throw his last of the 5th. Looks like it's going to be a draw to out count. Looks a little warm from the warm room's perspective. Sweepers are not on it yet. There they are past the Little Rockers house. Both the sweepers are on it. And looks like it might be curling right into that guard. It's right on the guard, and it splits, and Barry's got a shot at a mittful. It's going to be a shot for 5 from Klein. Just needed to get confirmation. I don't think there's anything in the back from the perspective of the webcam. So Bill Nickel throwing his first, I believe. Yeah, it looks like his first skips rocks on sheet 2. Looks a little tight on that line. And it's curling a bit. Needs to sweep for contact. Sweep for contact. All right, so that leaves Zakin sitting 1 behind coverage. But now that he's not trying to shoot for the win, it's only the 6th end and not the 8th. We take a look at sheet number 1, Team Klein. Nice. It looks like a pin draw. There it is, covering the pin for his 5. So that is Team Klein finally using that hammer to their advantage. Taking 5, and they're up 6-4 at the end of 5. But thank you. All right, here we go. Mark Zakin throwing his first. All right, we got Matt Gallo setting up the house on sheet 1. And Mark Zakin looking a little warm, but that might end up being back 12, as long as you're getting 2 counters out of this. Nope, back 8. All right, so Zakin sitting 1-2. Bill's left with the question, and that question is, you hit that 1, you draw. It's a wide open spot. I mean, you just need to get behind that coverage and sit anywhere 8 foot. But that hit looks rather enticing because you hit and stick. Looking at the scoreboard, they're up 2. Thank you very much. I've been told that I'm being commented on, on the Nutmeg live stream. So apparently, if you want somebody to if you want to listen to somebody making fun of me, I don't know. Oh, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to. We don't want to put that out there in the universe. No. They're jinxing. I'm defending the thesis on Tuesday, so ugh, we don't want to talk about that. Anyway, Bill Nickel looks like sweeping hard for that contact. He gets the hit, but loses his shooter, rolls out. So Zakin's got an opportunity to get 2 and even things up after 6. Looking over on the 6th end on sheet 1, Barry Klein's got a 2-point lead after a really great 5th end. But looks like Patty Coburn's going for the split, maybe? He's sitting 1 in the far wing. My PhD is on extremely nerdy stuff that I don't like to talk about because people tend to have glassy eyes, and they just like, oh, you do that, then cool, and then changes the subject immediately. All right. Zakin's taken the out-turn path, and Alina trying to drag it out, and it is through. So just a overthrown draw. Zakin takes a single. Down 1 going into the real last 2 ends this time. Nickel 5, Zakin 4 going into the 7th. We take a look now over at sheet 1. Getting some nice hits over from Team Klein's 2nd. And looking at it, it looks like the Team Klein's shot rock is about half exposed behind that center line guard. Apparently, there is now a rule that I want to institute known as the "We Don't Talk About Bruno" rule. So we don't talk about Bruno. No. We don't talk about Bruno. Great reflex from Barry Klein to make sure that it doesn't that hit doesn't ricochet off the board and into the shot rock. You got to love it when a skip shows those cat-like reflexes out there. Make sure that those rebounds don't make things more difficult. Setting up the house now on sheet 2, Sheila Nickel throwing lead rocks. And now we've got Chris Springer throwing his second.
All right.
Thank you. All right, that's looking like a good hit. All right, so on sheet 1, contact was made on the shot rock before it hit the board, which is good. Skip's made confirmation that it was a clean hit on there, so it didn't remove the yellow, but it's still in the wing, so Patty's got a question now. Split the house, cover the 2. I appreciate the text message. Apparently, I have somebody in stitches. I am apparently, quote, funny, which is news to me, but I'm going to continue on doing what I try to do. All right, let's get that Bill Grzybowski yellow rock dragging in. We got some great sweeping going on from Gephardt and Grzybowski's. Ooh. Thank you. I'm sorry, I got corrected there. Kat Grisbowski and John Gephardt. Sorry, I had a moment there. I apologize. Kathy, Kat, Catherine. All I know is that I'm just going to go ahead and say it. That's Kathy's been the sweeper on Team Coburn. You do not want to mess with her with that broom. I really hope that you all are having a wonderful Bonsqueal weekend. It is gorgeous outside. For those of you who are maybe watching this and watching it from a patio or watching it outside somewhere, I really hope you're enjoying this beautiful spring day. I do have a question in the chat room. Funny? Question mark? Yes, it's been apparently known to happen, but only by accident, John. I never mean to. Nice draw weight from the second on Zakin. Paul Douglas. Paul, I apologize for not giving you the credit you deserve through the game, but you did a great job this game. Great draw weight. Leaves it fully exposed. However, the question now is, go for the hit or go for the draw for Malarowski's first on Team Nickel. But as I was saying, I really hope everyone has had a great Bonsqueal weekend. It's been a party for a lot of people, and it seems like it's been a good end of the first full season that we've had in a while. Next season will be a great season. We're going to start, I believe, early October as we normally do. I do suggest that you check out on the GNCC website or on the USCA website any opportunities there you might have for summer curling. Cape Cod is going to have their men's and women's and mixed spiels in June and July. And there's a number of Bonspiels that will be happening at the start of the season next season, including Potomac's Glitter Bomb Spiel and Ardsley's McKay Douglas Bonspiel. So make sure you all, take a look at what opportunities you would have for summer curling. It would be a lot of fun to spread the love, get some more curlers out there, because if there's nothing more fun than summer curling when you're like, I'd rather be on the beach. And especially when you're at a place that's near a beach. Great attempt at the hit on 2. The double was almost, the contact on the yellow shooter was almost there, but good try. Sheet 1. Clearing out some rocks in the house. Wide open house on sheet 1 in the 6th. John Gephardt being called to split the house, while Mike Malarowski called to draw. Or guard. But one last thing I wanted to mention as we end the last 3 ends of these, I want to make sure we big shout out to all the volunteers at the Bonsqueal. At every club, at every curling club, you can't do anything without volunteers, and our volunteers here at Plainfield have been amazing as always. The turnout's been great from everywhere. Everyone working the warm room and making sure that everything's cleaned up. Our openers, our closers, our cooks, our pig roasters, our ice crew, everyone. Thank you to all the volunteers who have made the Bonsqueal a success. And we appreciate everyone's commitment to having an amazing time, making sure that it's all in good fun. Nice draw attempt from Gephardt. It might end up being a biter. That looks close enough that the biter bar could be used. Everyone's taking a look, and it looks like a biter. I would hazard a guess that it's a biter. You can't really rule of thumb for everybody if you're relatively new to curling. If you feel like it's a biter, assume it's a biter. Always go for the measure. Always assume it, because the houses might not be painted or laid correctly. You always want to make sure that you're relative to the center pin. So if you ever feel that you're just touching the house and you don't really know if it's in or not, don't necessarily trust the houses. Always measure, just to be on the safe side. That is something that I've learned from officiating. You always want to make sure you you trust the pin over the painted houses. One other thing I want to mention to you for curling fans is do not forget that at this time we have 3 international events going on that you can check out. You could check out with World Curling Tour. You could check out the mixed the World Mixed event where we have the Hamilton pair. The Hamilton siblings are our American representatives, and they are currently 2-0. We also have the senior men's and senior women's, which both started out 1-0. I believe that the next events have either happened or are about to happen. So we've got 3 international events going on for the World Curling. USA is represented really strong in all 3 events. So there's still a lot of opportunity to enjoy curling as we end this season. Season always ends April the 30th. So Vice's Rock from Barry Klein. That's not what I want. Gonna draw on Zakin. So, sheet 2, got an interesting house happening here. We've got a beautiful frozen red Zakin Rock sitting 1, and we got Bill Nichols sitting 2, 3, 4. We'll take a couple rocks to try to unlock that right now, or a well-placed attempt at the raise double. So Bill is left with a conundrum, trying to figure out what best way to do this. Looking from the warm room, that cluster in the house looks far more open than what we see on the webcams and what we see on the top-down view. So the question looks to be, what's the best course of action? It looks like a control hit to pop the guard, get rid of the guard as best as you can, but that's a lot of line. So there's a plan B where you might be able to spill off that red in the 4th one. So only to throw in her second. It looks like it's going to take the yellow and unlocks the red. So we got the back 2 unlocked now, but Zakin is still sitting 1 with Nickel sitting 2, 3, 4. And from this perspective, I'm looking at the top down. It's going to take 2 rocks to get after that red. So this is definitely an advantage for Zakin to take to work with. They're going through and making sure that they know that it's going to take 2. But does Zakin want to go for the multiple, or do they want to go for the steal? They've got enough rocks so they can do either strategy. And right now, Bill Grzybowski, Barry Klein flashes his hit on Patty Coburn's shooter. And now Patty Coburn and John Gebhardt are staring at the biter. A meeting of the minds to ensure, is that actually counting or not? And the question is, do they go for it? It is Coburn who's got the hammer. So the question is going to be, draw for 2 or draw for 3. It's still a draw for a multiple. I think the question is going to be, do they go for the split just to ensure that it's a 3? Or do they just do the draw and have the measure go off in their favor? Me personally, in my opinion, I go for the draw and just go for the measure as well. Because from my perspective, you should always just do the measure anyway. I have been told this is great commentary. I appreciate it, Susan. Your check is in the mail. A lot of conversation for Patty Coburn and his vice, John Gebhardt. And while that conversation is going on in sheet 1, sheet 2, Mark Zakin getting prepped to throw his first. He does not have hammer, but his first off and away. I think this would be if this is a well-placed guard and sweepers are on it, but if this is a well-placed guard, he is definitely going to walk away with a good steal on this one. Hanging out a little bit further wider than he would have liked. Sweepers are on it. It's a good guard. It's a good guard. It keeps the aisle through the center line wide open, though. But, again, it's going to take 2 to unlock it. And Patty Coburn gets the draw for the multiple on sheet 1. But the question now becomes 2 or 3. And John Gephardt's now looking at the pin, not the stone, and now knows to go and grab the biter bar. Or the measure. 2 measures in a row. The question now is, does Patty Coburn have the lead going into 7, or do they have the tie going into 7? He's got the biter bar. And please enjoy the festivities on the biter bar while we take a look at sheet 2. Sheet 2, trying to see if the hit and roll's there. There's a lot of options here. If I was Bill, I wouldn't be... If I was nickel, I'm up 1. I'm okay with giving Zakin 1 here, because it'd be a tie game with hammer at the last end. But you still want to try to make an attempt, because if you get it, you can get a bundle on this as well. So it's definitely a good question to have here on what do you do. And it looks like John Gephardt threw for his fingers up for 2 on sheet 1. I'm wondering, I'm just going to get warm room confirmation if that was 2 or 3 on sheet 1, but hopefully John will put the score up. Bill Nickel, it looks like it's going to get contact, but is there going to be enough of a roll? The roll is there, but not enough to try to get some action on the red. But they are sitting shots number 2, 3, 4, 5, but Zakin's got the 1. Can Zakin grab a deuce out of all of this? That's the question. The force, the steal of 1 would be really nice. A steal of 2 would be even better, because taking a lead, one up without hammer, is nice to have in a final end, rather than going in even. And it looks like John Gephardt is going to put the score up. And it is on the 6th. The Patty Coburn draws for 2 in the 6th end. We are tied up. Barry Klein has got the hammer in 7, 6-6. And while Matt Gallo on Team Klein throws his first lead rocks, let's take a look here on sheet 2. A lot of conversation here. It looks like the conversation is, what can Bill Nickel do to get rid of the red? And I think that's what their concern is. Their concern is really, what option does Bill have on his hammer to go from, a steal of 1 to sitting possibly 5? From this angle, looking at the warm room right now, I personally don't see it. The center line guards, all 3 guards do not really look good for Bill. It's the way in which the second and third shot are on top of each other that would pose an issue for Bill as well. So, yes, I see somebody in the chat room mentioning the fact that the scores are being updated. So huzzah indeed. And I'm thankful that I've been told that the comments are excellent. So again, I am just overly caffeinated and trying to do my best to prolong having to go back and doing my job. So why not just come over here and talk? Because if you give me an opportunity to talk, if you know me, I will not shut up. I think everybody at Plainfield, Nutmeg, Ardsley, Bucks, Philadelphia, Potomac, I think everybody on the Eastern Seaboard would probably agree with that. All right. So Mark looks like he's lining up for a draw. It's a cold side draw, mind you, but a draw for 2, or at least guarding any potential on that bundle of 3 fronts to be a headache for him. So it's going to be a draw. It's going to be a guard or draw on the cold side. The risk here is if you over curl you run the risk of popping the red guard. But at the same time, in my opinion, I don't see an easy way for Bill, if that guard is gone, to pop out the red. As long as the center line stays a little bit congested, it will be a favorable situation for Zakin. It definitely came out real narrow on Mark Zakin's first, on Mark Zakin's second. It is a good guard weight, and it clogs up the center line. So a good signal that I'm happy with my one. Bill, if you want your multiple, go after it. So I think this is the right call. So Bill is trying to find a run back solution here. Yes, this is Rob. Hello, everybody. All right. And of course, my buddy John DeYoung comes over right behind me, looks over, and goes, "Yep, it's there." So apparently, I've got veterans who see it a lot cleaner than I do. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm okay with that. So Bill Nickel going for a raise attempt for a bundle. I hope if somebody has an opportunity to clip this, this would be a wonderful shot to save. Looks firm. Also looks just a hair tight. But yeah, and the sweeper's going, holding the line. You've got contact on the red. And crosses it. Oh! There was an angle there that I did not see. You got the raise, pops it off of there, crosses over the nose, and that is a handshake. That was a handshake from Zakin. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, are they shaking for game? I believe that's game. Nickel takes 4, and that is the ball game. 9-4 on a shot that was unbelievable. I really wish I knew this software a little bit more so that I can go and do a replay. In fact, give me a second. Let's see if we can do a replay on that. What really stinks about this is I was taught a long time ago how to do a replay, and I have forgotten. And applause as people are starting to come off from sheet 2. I will be, and a hero's applause for the victors on sheet 2, Team Nickel. All right. So focusing our attention on sheet one. Sheet one, John Gephardt is throwing throwing the second Vice Rocks for Team Coburn. The setup. The setup is Coburn sitting 1 with Barry sitting 2, buried behind some guards there, and John throwing a centerline guard, protecting that shooter in the house. I want to take this opportunity now to congratulate Team Nickel, taking the D event finalists for this year's Bonsqueal. So congratulations to lead Sheila Nickel, second Mike Malarowski, vice Olena Pazadriska, and skip Bill Nickel. Congratulations, and congratulations also goes to our D event finalists. There was a change to the order. So if I could please get somebody from Nutmeg, Elizabeth, remind me the order, please, on Team Zakin, who was lead.
So you had Sean Cummings at lead.
So we had lead Sean Cummings.
Second was Paul Douglas.
Second was Paul Douglas. Vice was Ryan Heidi, and skip was Mark Zakin. There was a little bit of a change to the order, so I wanted to make sure that we got it correct. So thank you very much for joining us for Sheet 2's coverage of the D event final for the Bonsqueal, the 2022 Bonsqueal. Thank you again to our friends from Nutmeg for coming down and having a great weekend. Congratulations. Now we're going to focus our attention. Sheet 1, our B event final. Patty Coburn is about ready to throw his first. This is the 7th end with a tie game. And right now, we've got a yellow rock. We got a Coburn rock sitting 1, fully eclipsing the pin in the button. The question now here is going aggressive and drawing in the house or just throwing a guard. This looks like good guard weight. A staggered center line guard situation would be great right now, especially on the intern side. Sweepers are wanting to and not wanting to, so they're just okay with it, letting it come down on its own. Nice guard from Patty. So the difficult thing here is that for Barry to come and get after that, he runs the risk of pushing the red into pushing the yellow counter into the red and holding his red, whatever shooter he has, exposed. So the nice shot here, just going for the draw. Try to dislodge that red off the pin. You throw it just right with, you can do backline weight. Throw backline weight, you get to the nose, and push it back for 2. Unfortunately, since I'm not really well versed in the line here, I'm not really well versed in the line, but that looks like it might be a draw line rather than like a back line weight kind of line. So. Barry Klein throwing his first. All right, that looks like draw weight to me. It actually looks a little light to me. That looks like maybe top 8. So it'll be up to the sweepers to judge. Is it also a little wide? So we'll see how this curls, how it ends up. Sweepers are wanting to go now, but I think it's just a hair light. Yep, they can drag it to be top 4. Just 2-3 inches light. The nice thing though is that it gives them an opportunity to pop the red for 1. The only downside is that you hit it on the wrong side later, that yellow is going to stick around and jam.